welcome Emma Liston from beingmagic.com to Eastfm. Hello, Emma.
Hi, Rose.
Right, now let's just see. Your microphone is not turned on. Hey, No, it's not you. It's me. I'm technologically challenged. Let's try it. Anything can happen on the show, I got to tell you. Let's go. Hello, Emma.
Hi, Rose.
There you go. There she is. And I'm gonna lift up that volume button a little bit higher because you've got a soft voice. Unlike Rose, and she always has to hear herself so loud. You're feeling it in your headset. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much. I really appreciate your taking the time to come from all that way because it's something that you can normally do in 45 minutes. Now we take 1.5 hours or more to do, especially coming from the north and this time of the afternoon. And of course, school's back. So I appreciate you. And I know, why didn't I think about this before, right?
Oh, no, but it's okay. I mean, we sometimes have to do these things. So.
Yeah. And also, I think with everything happening the way it has in the last year, and I did think about it before, but I did think about the distance, and there was so much happening that even when I could have had you, time I may not have been here. So that was what was happening. So Emma, I'm so amazed with you and stuff that you've been putting out on YouTube. You showed your dragon collection. Oh my gosh, that was like watching something like a tour program or something. It was like awesome. It's that level, right? And I really loved it. And it was so nice because I was getting to know you better in that. I know we talk often.
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, everybody, you can catch Emma and I on the Great Awakening Generator doing live chat. But Emma also has her YouTube channel called Being-Magic, right?
Yeah. Something like that. But the link's on my website.
That's right. The link's on the website. And also, if you check it out on the Great Awakening Generator, we've got Emma's website link on there too. You can catch it. Now, why would you be doing that? We'll tell you very shortly why you'd want to go onto the website and check it out. We just want to talk about being magic. So, Emma, what is being magic?
So, being magic is my business, but it's more of it's like a soul calling, if I can call it that.
Yes.
So what it really is that I offer energetic healing and I offer quantum hypnotherapy. But my energy healing is not sort of normal. It's Reiki, but it's more than that. It's color healing, sound healing, crystal healing, and a whole range of other things. But I also work on animals. Animals are a real big passion for me. And the other thing that I do is I do grids, and I send a lot of healing around the world with grids and that. And I also have a range of products that I make. So That's really what Being Magic is.
Right. So that's vast. That's a lot of things under the one umbrella. But why did you call it Being Magic? I know we didn't discuss that question, but...
Yeah. So... I've always felt a little bit strange in this world. I've never fully felt that I've belonged. So growing up, I didn't have a bad childhood, but I was never really happy. And I just always felt that there was something more beyond what I could see. And I have always believed in magic. So my attachment to, or my belief in all things magical, I think kept me sort of... grounded, even though that sounds completely opposite, but kept me grounded and kept me sane, if I can put it in those words, in this lifetime. And so I've always had a strong connection to the dragons. I've always believed in unicorns, fairies, the elementals, all of that. And so when I started to go down this road of bringing my sort of soul purpose into a business in the 3D world, I called it Being Magic because I wanted everybody to be their magic.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. That's an amazing reason for it, right? And everybody, if you could see Emma now, she looks quite fairy-like. She's got purple and blonde hair, and she's got this amazing makeup that's got this glitter. And Emma's always beautiful. She's naturally beautiful, so she doesn't need makeup to be beautiful, right? And the South African girls are very pretty, especially if they are of European descent. They've got a magic about them. They've got amazing eyes, and Emma's one of those people. I don't mean to embarrass you. I just have to tell the truth, right? Because South African girls of European descent, very different looking, right? Very unusual, very magical eyes. So Emma's one of those people. So if you know any South African girls and you think that about them, Emma's like that too. So anyway, I just wanted to say this, wanted to talk more about the service offering, because you said so many things, and I just want us to sort of piece it out and say, so Emma, when you work with animals, what do you do?
Okay, so if I work with animals, what I would do is often the animal's human guardian will come to me and go, I've got a problem. And so we'll have a meeting, whether that's via phone or Zoom. And what I'll do is after that, I will then tune into the animal because, they've obviously asked me to help. I will tune into the animal and then I will either do some energy healing work on it. Well, most of the time that's what I do. But often I will set up a grid after that. And what the crystal grids do is I can set them up and I can program them I don't do it all the time, but sometimes I feel the animal needs a little bit more healing. And so what I will do is I'll set up a crystal grid, and that will remain on an altar, and that will send a certain kind of healing to the animal in the days following or the weeks following, so that it is more a gentle sort of flow of healing that the animal can get, because animals are a lot more receptive to energy healing than we are.
That's right.
So they will just accept it as they can deal with it. So often if it's an elderly animal, or if it's an animal that has come out of an operation or something like that, I might do a little bit of energy work, but I like to set up the grids afterwards because it allows the animal to continue to take on the healing in the days following, so it's not sort of all at once. So that's kind of what I do with an animal healing thing, although this year I'm big on my animal communication, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to add that to the mix very soon.
Good. So tell me, so when an animal's guardian or family member contacts you, they'll contact you if it's unwell, if the dog or the cat's unwell. Do they ever contact you for things like, my dog's looking really depressed and I don't know what's going on with it, like I've been saying about my dog? Do they contact you with things like that, and then you tune in and
yes,
kind of figure out that?
Yeah. So I have had one dog that's been a little bit anxious and a little bit uptight, and so yes, it doesn't necessarily need to be a physical ailment. It can be behavioural things, or where the guardian can just see that their animal isn't quite right. So yes, those things do happen, and often I will also tune in, and often I will do some energy healing. At the minimum, I normally do a chakra balancing when that happens, because there's something that is out of balance.
Yes.
And then sort of just try and just, often when it's an animal that is anxious and that, it just needs to feel comforted in that. And then what I will do is I'll feed back to the human guardian afterwards and just say, is there anything going on? And often they'll go, we were preparing to move house, but we haven't really said anything. But you see, the animals know these things before we do.
Yeah.
So it just then helps the human to support the animal more.
Yeah. So I'm hearing from what you're saying, and I listened to something last week as well, a lady called, what is her name? Danielle
McKinnon.
McKinnon, right? And Danielle McKinnon. And she was saying something like that, and you're saying the same thing now, where it's like our animals pick up our anxiousness or our happiness or our stress or 100%. Whatever, and then they manifest that in how they behave. And it was like, wow, okay, that's a real eye-opener, because I complain about my dog and his behavior often, and I had to stop and think, what are you doing, Rose, for him to be like that?
Correct. And remember, they're often they are here just like people are, to come into our lives, and often they've got a soul contract, and they're here to help us with lessons, but even sometimes just help us through life. So there's all this sort of unseen stuff as well.
Yeah. Sometimes people never really think of animals their pets as having a soul contract with them. And I feel like it's got to come to the forefront more and more about the fact that animals do have soul contracts. Like I didn't know this until we had the cat and he passed away. After he passed away, I knew that. And that was like 2015, about 8 years ago, right? And then when I got Baxter, I thought, oh, wow, I had dreams about our previous lives together. And, in a previous life, we've had one where he was a horse and I lost him.
Oh, yeah.
And he was one of I was a person taking part in these competitions, and he was my horse, and I lost him, and I almost did that in this lifetime a couple of times too, but we've come back together, so we actually have the full life and no losing and having a good balance. That's what I believe anyway. So animals are quite the fascination, and I believe that there's something happening in the ethers at the moment that is bringing animals back into our faces, so to speak, into the forefront with us humans. And they're actually coming into that place so that we can understand the relationships that we are having with them, right? What do you think?
100%. And they are, they might not be as intellectually evolved as we are, but they are definitely more spiritually evolved, and they are definitely more connected to the planet and to the all that is. So they have, they are souls just like you and I. They're just in a different body, and they are not separate from us. They are not different. They are not lesser. I believe they have the greatest lessons to share with us and to teach us.
Yes. In fact, I think sometimes, or a lot of times, animals are higher vibrational than we are.
Much more.
They can sense, they can see. And, I won't go into my recent experience with it, because that means we will go beyond the time. But I want to talk again. I'm going to bring it back to the service offerings, right? So Thank you for telling us that about animals. I think it was really awesome that we brought them in first, right?
Yeah.
So what about you do Reiki, you do tarot, you talk about tarot, you talk about crystal healing. The grids I didn't hear about. That's very fascinating. But talk us through what your offering is in terms of Reiki, tarot, and crystal healing.
Right. So what I do is on my website, if anybody goes on there, you'll see it's called energy healing, because I don't like to call it Reiki because it just feels too limiting. So although I'm trained in Reiki, I'm trained in many other things. And what I like to do is, if somebody specifically comes to me and says, I just want Reiki, that's what I will give them. But the reason I've labeled it energy healing is because I believe that if the person comes to me and goes, just give me what I need, then I will give them what they need, because I work intuitively. So it could be a whole mix of things. I might just do energy healing. I might do sound healing. I've got tuning forks and singing bowls, and I work with the solfeggio frequencies. Those are really good to help people shift stuff. The crystals are almost always used, because they obviously, each crystal has its own vibration. And then there's also the color healing. So the color of the crystals, or sometimes even just certain colors, I will, place on people's bodies or whatever it is. I will most of the time set up a crystal grid under the bed of my clients if they come to see me physically. And often online, I might set up a grid for them after I've been with them. So that would be in the same way as I do the animals. So yeah, and then there's the quantum hypnotherapy, which is really good for people who are sort of wanting to do that deeper understanding and maybe travel to, I like to call them parallel lives, not past lives, but do that travel to understand where some of their traumas and things might come from, because not everything is from this life. So there's that aspect as well. But an energy healing can be all sorts of things, and I kind of just go with what I'm called to do. But it is, if anybody's sort of thinking about it and trying to understand it, it would more be something like Reiki, but it's just much bigger than that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, because you've got the Reiki. Maybe you have somebody who says, I want Reiki, but then you're using all these other tools like a crystal grid. Yeah. Crystal grid is to set up crystal in a specific position, a pattern, yeah. Right? That's your crystal grid. Using the crystal grid, you might pull a tarot card for them if you feel that they might need it, and give them a message from the tarot.
Yes.
Right. So these are the tools you add to your sessions.
Yeah, I mean the cards I don't always do, but funnily enough, my last 2 healings, I've had to pull a card because people have told me, oh, I've got a little unicorn tattoo somewhere, and then the unicorn cards have had to come out.
Yes.
And and what I do with the crystals is I've got a beautiful set of crystals that's called the Liquid Crystal Oracle, and it's by a guy who apparently has some connection to his memories in Atlantis.
Right.
And each card is a gemstone, so it can be, you know, amethyst or tourmaline or whatever it is, and they have specific placements that you can put on the body. And last week I was called to use them along with my crystals, and my client had the most profound experience.
Wow.
So yes, and then obviously, you know, aside from all of this stuff, is that I do actually do readings on their own as well. And it's something that occurred to me last week, is that I've always found the readings a little bit different or slightly separate from the rest of the healing work I do. But the last 2 readings that I've had have been healing for the client in and of themselves, because the client is almost, there's something that's come up in the cards and they've just found themselves talking to me and going, well, I haven't thought about that for years. Why am I telling you this? So even the tarot readings are starting to become a healing tool. So so I always thought they were separate, but I'm starting to realize that they're not.
No, they're not. They're not. From my experience of it, like, you know, definitely they're not, right? You would think, and then you think, oh, I feel like I want to use that. And how does that feel? Or there's that crystal, and suddenly you feel all this energy in the crystal, right?
Yeah.
So tell me about quantum healing. I mean, like, as soon as I hear quantum healing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I can't make it out. I don't know what they're talking about. Because, you know, like so many people talk about quantum field, quantum healing and all of that. What is, if you can give us, like, you know, a little bit of description of that. What does that mean?
So in a nutshell, without taking too much time, everything is energy. So we are just energy. Everything is atoms. The tables that we're looking at, our bodies, everything are atoms, and they're densely packed together, and then they become physical. I mean, I'm probably not explaining it right, but that's the long and short of it, is that everything is energy.
Yes.
So we are much more than our physical body. We have an energetic body, and that is the biggest part of us. So although people can't see it, I believe that every single disease that manifests itself in the physical body starts in the energy body. So our energy body is designed to protect the physical body. But when it's being bombarded with EMFs and all these frequencies and possibly things in the air and stuff like that, it breaks down the energy body. And also because we've not been taught at school to worry about the energy body, we don't even know that it exists.
Yes.
So if you look after yourself energetically, you can often, you know, not have anything manifest in the physical realm. And even if so it's a simple thing, something simple like getting angry with somebody and then packing that away instead of allowing that emotion to pass through you. That then sits in your energy body, and then you can pack it down in such a way, if you have sort of lots of angry episodes, that what happens is that you eventually develop something like a cancer or a something that develops in the physical body, but it has come from you packing away years and years and years of anger in the energy body.
Okay.
So the quantum field exists all around us. Everything is energy. There is, you know, we just can't see it. The human eye can only see, I think it's less than 1% of the whole spectrum of light. You know, we can't see the higher rays and the lower rays. So just because you can't see it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And if anybody holds their hand up to a dark wall and relaxes their eyes like you used to do with those funny puzzles years ago, they will start to see a little sort of golden or yellow glow around the edges of their fingers, and that is their aura, that is their energy body.
Right.
So everybody has this. We are not just physical beings. So this is what we mean when we work in the quantum field. So when I'm working, I am clearing somebody's energy body of everything that they can let go of. And I also just want to caveat that everybody's their own healer. I just hold a space and I might help somebody work through these things, but the body heals itself if we just allow it to do so. But if everybody's rushing around in the daily grind and what have you, they don't think about just pressing pause and saying to their body, what do you need? And can I give you 10 minutes for you to just almost retune yourself and recalibrate yourself?
Mm-hmm. It's like taking the time to breathe.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I like that. I understand better the quantum healing now because I hear it and it freaks me out. But it's simple. It's the energy body.
Yeah,
That's what it is. That's
100%.
the quantum field is the energy body. And it's interesting that you talk about that. We feel the example of anger and how that manifests itself in the physical body, and it manifests as sickness because somewhere along the line there's something we haven't dealt with. A lot of people that I know will probably say no, but more people that I've come to know in the last, say, 18 months are very in tune with that and talk about that and say, yes, that's exactly right. Because I think I've known it for years now, that if there's something happening in your physical body, it's because it's something, there's a metaphysical reason for it.
100%.
And we need to sort of, and it's kind of sad that there is an ignorance about that in the world, because so often people are trying to find reasons and healing and stuff like that in all the things that they've been brought up and taught to look for, and they're not actually getting any results.
100%.
Yeah, we're not saying, and the disclaimer is, don't ignore your doctor's advice.
No.
We're saying doctor's advice, or whatever it is you choose to do with the doctor's advice, is, we say to everybody, this is something we're not encouraging you to do, but what we're talking about supports, enhances whatever else is going on. And yes, you can have doctor's advice. Yes, you can do that. But you can also have these things. We have equal value here.
Exactly.
Right?
And often when something has manifested in the physical body, you often do need surgery or something like that. But if you've got something, definitely something like anxiety in that, consider if you find that, maybe you're not happy with, taking a medication, or maybe you find even on the medication it's not helping. There are other ways for you to work through why you are anxious, because anxiety, anxiety is a funny one, because anxiety for me is almost a little blessing. It's a little blessing package, because it is energy that is coming up to the surface to be released, but the person doesn't know what it is, so they become anxious.
Yes.
But the body is innately trying to do what it needs to do. It knows that this energy is harmful for it, so it's trying to release it. So for anybody out there who's got anxiety, your body's trying to talk to you.
I like that. Yes, I like that. You tell me you're working with the grids, right? And you for the planet and things like that. Now we understand what the grid is. You can make a crystal grid.
Yes.
Do you use other things to make a grid?
I sometimes use feathers and rocks,
yes,
and candles, obviously, all sorts of, even sometimes herbs. So, essential oils can all come into it. It sometimes becomes a little bit of a Wiccan style grid, but it depends what I'm working with. Sometimes sometimes it'll just be crystals, and other times it'll be a whole load of things.
Yeah. I want to come back to the grid question later on. I have something around that, but it's when it's more applicable to another question. So I feel like, I just wanted us to do that. Make sure I'm making a note of it. Products, you said herbs, you use herbs, products or whatever. Now, I received a wonderful pack from you a while back, and I'm still using all of that stuff, and I'm really loving it. And, and just for the benefit of our audience, I've also had Emma's energy healing, and it was just incredible. It was amazing, right? I just felt so cocooned in this golden light. I could see myself, or I could see this golden light all around me, and I felt like I was just in a space where I was just, cotton wooled with golden light, if that's the way I can put it. And it just made me comfortable, and I just felt at peace, and I just had amazing sleep and all of that. Right. But we'll talk about the products, because the products that I told you, I just used it last night too. How is it that you make products? I mean, like, where does that all come into it? And what are these products? Well, I know what the products are. Our listeners don't. Can you tell us about the products?
Yeah. So a couple of years ago, I got quite ill, and I didn't really want to, for some reason. I think the illness was a kick from the universe to to get me to continue with my little, story through life. And so what I did is I started exploring essential oils and aromatherapy, and I took a really deep, in-depth course on aromatherapy. And what I started to realize was that a lot of the time when we just sort of maybe take a painkiller, I guess because I'd tapped into the energy healing a little bit deeper a couple of years ago, which is when I, started to think about having an actual business. But instead of just masking the symptoms, I thought, what if there was a better way to do this? What if there was a better way to actually take something that doesn't just shut off the pain, sort of nerves, but that would actually heal and provide a painkiller. So that's why I was drawn to aromatherapy, because I really think that the plants on this planet can offer us, so much healing. I mean, they really are wonderful. So it started with aromatherapy. So I now have a range of products where, I haven't used a painkiller for 3 years now, for a headache, for anything. So if I've got a really bad headache, I'll take a tissue salt, but most of the time I can manage it with my my headache roll-on, and I just put it on the temples. You can put it on the soles of the feet. You can put it on your wrists and that kind of thing. And what it does is the combination of the plants in the carrier oil, they have healing properties. So lavender is a really, really good painkiller. It also calms the system. So for me, it's twofold. It's not just what the plants can do, which leads me on to something else, but what I'll often do is add in the flower essences. I work a lot with those. So the flower essences are really good for holding space for somebody emotionally. So perhaps they're in pain, but they're so wound up emotionally that they actually can't relax enough for the body to heal. So the essential oils and sometimes the flower essences, it depends what it is, they kind of work in this beautiful unison to support, the body, the physical body and the emotional body. And then I've taken it one step further and I make vibrational essences, and those are made on crystal grids. They're infused with sort of Reiki energy. They're infused with dragon, unicorn, angelic energy, and those are more sprays for like your chakras. And I've got an aura spray and that kind of thing. And so those are more your vibrational energies, which is what you would use. You could use one to clear your crystals, or if you've been around somebody and you don't feel good or you're feeling a bit prickly, you can use it to clear your aura, and all these things. So I've got practical ones for the body, and then I've got sort of the more woo-woo or esoteric elixirs.
Oh, wow. Yes, right. I thank you for explaining the products to us, because I'm quite fascinated with it. I think that's a big that's a big area to explore. And what, sometimes you might get something from someone and it works for a while and then it doesn't. And you sort of, you want something that actually lasts, that goes the distance with you. And that's how I feel about your products. I really love it. Anyway, now we're not going to music break, just to say, because I feel like we just need to flow with the conversation. One of the things I was going to ask you and I've forgotten, I'm just going to say it now, so I hope you don't freak out. What I wanted you to do was to do like maybe a 2 or 3 guided meditation with us at the end. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. I had this, and I remember I said to you, I'm going to put you on the spot, and then I forgot to tell you what I was going to put you on the spot about. Okay, there you go. Right. So Emma, my next question is, why did you choose to do such a thing now? And that's my next question, but I just want to do a little bit of a lead up to this, right? Now, for everybody that's listening, I want to say that Emma is a dragon lady. Okay, just so you know, Emma does tune in with the dragons. She does tune in with the unicorns. And I think this is where, because of what I've been doing this last year on the Great Awakening Generator, I started off with the unicorns and then I went on to do dragons. I've always felt akin to dragons, not necessarily that I did anything about it. I was read all the books of King Arthur and Merlin, the Dragon Master and all of that. Never thought that dragons were not real. Never really, really thought that dragons were not real for some reason. You know how you have that level of understanding? You never question it. It's a dragon, it's a dragon, it's a dragon, you know? And so I'm like forever grateful that the dragons have come back into my world. And I mean, the dragon story is another thing for another time, because and anyway, any of you listening, if you want to know more about dragons, we have a lot about them on the Great Awakening Generator and on Light Language Messenger. So please go and check it out. But who knows, maybe one day we'll do something about dragons on the radio, because, you know. But actually, why am I saying that? I've been invoking dragons to radio in the last 6 weeks, like say from December onwards.
Oh, wow.
Certain dragons I was asked to bring in and talk about them and all of that, and I've been doing it on the radio. So I don't know why. You know how the memory is these days, right? But let's come back to this. Now, yes, why did you choose to do such a thing? Yes, we want to come back to that, but I want, and maybe it's two-pronged. You know how you said you tune in for the planet and you create these grids, right? How do you know to do that? So if you can answer the question, whichever one you want to go first with, because I feel they're intertwined, please feel free.
So the grids are interesting. I mean, I guess I've always felt connected to the planet, but yet disconnected. As I say, I grew up feeling like there was something there, like there was something that I was missing. And I really do. I've always felt like I've always been very connected to nature and to animals. And animals to me are closer to nature than we are, and they didn't lose their connection like we did. But there's always been a part of me that's really wanted to help the earth. So, you know, often when I'm on the beach, I'll go and draw, whether it's Reiki symbols, or I love Metatron's cube. Every now and again, I'm drawing Metatron's cube on the beach. If I can, I'll go outside and I'll actually try and pull in energy from the cosmos down through my body and into the earth, and just ask the dragons and the unicorns and the earth herself to take it to wherever it's needed. It's kind of been something I've been doing a little bit more sort of over the past 4 years or so, but I've always just felt like the planet was a part of me. It wasn't something that was separate from me. And then, of course, as I went along my journey, and possibly once I did my first Reiki course, which was back in 2011, I started to realize that, everything had energy, and, started to delve more into this world. And imagine my delight when I discovered that Gaia was a living, breathing entity just like we are. So yes, so the grids, every now and again I will set up a grid. I mean, when I did Diana Cooper's thing in October last year.
The monadic meditation.
Yeah, I when I attended that event, I had a grid set up for the planet for 24 hours before that event and for the whole week afterwards. So every now and again I'm called to do that, but it's just been, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost just it's a connection, and sometimes I just think, okay, now I need to do a grid. It's not something that I can't give you an answer as to why I've ever done any of that. I just do it and I go with it, and I don't really know what it means, but it just feels right.
Good, because because I'm always fascinated when people say I did a grid for the planet. I tuned in and I did a grid for the planet. Well, what prompted it? But it's got to be that this, the higher self that you are, that actually prompts this, and then you just do this thing. It comes out very naturally.
Yeah.
That you do, right?
Yeah.
So that's really interesting to know, because I'm sure people listening are wondering, so how do you know to do these things? Like, hey, what makes you do that? But it's about tuning in, which then comes back to why do you choose? Not so much why do you choose to do such a thing. How do you find yourself here? I'm like fascinated with people like yourself who they know this and they know that and whatever. And it's like, so how did you come to know this? I mean, obviously you've had a lot of education about these topics, but was this something that happened when you were a child that, the button clicked and that pressed in, or you tapped that button and you said, that's what I'm supposed to be doing or what? And I mean, like, I looked at that, I watched that dragon video, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so all I can say is that from very little I always envisaged myself being a healer, but then I thought I'd be a vet. and when I got a little bit older, nothing about the mainstream sort of veterinary side resonated with me. But I think I've always had a calling to heal and to help. So that's been there from really, really small. I mean, I had an affinity with animals. I was happier with animals than with people. They were almost my guiding light through my childhood years, because as I say, I wasn't a very happy human being in those days. So and then but the problem is that I went through long bouts of dark depressions, and had a severe car accident, which ironically was my spiritual awakening, and that was at the age of 29. But it's weird, because the dragons were there before the spiritual awakening. The animals were there. The call to heal was there before the spiritual awakening. After the spiritual awakening and even the tarot cards were there before. But after the spiritual awakening came the crystals, and Diana Cooper was one of my first people that I met, and I think I just kind of went along. But then I also became really, really busy, and I think that for me, the key thing for tuning in and getting to where I am, because it's almost been 40 years of this path, and all of a sudden in the last 10 years it's ramped up dramatically, and the last 4 even more so. And I have to say that is because I've gone inside and I've started to meditate, because 5 or 6 years ago, Rose, I didn't sit still for longer than 20 seconds at a time.
Yes,
so I really think the meditation and the slowing down and the connecting with myself. And then I found a huge shift 2 years ago when I did my hypnotherapy course, because we had to do 25 swap sessions with other practitioners to practice before we could go out to the public, and in order to qualify. And I think in those hypnosis sessions, sort of clearing away some of the stuff where my conscious mind was out of the way, and I could delve into my subconscious, and I connected with other parts of myself. I mean, I was actually quite peeved at one time, because it took me 10 goes before I saw the dragons in one of these sessions. But there were so many sessions where I am a being in inner earth, and I'm growing crystals that are going to one day come through the surface of the earth, and I've every time I've had a dress up or something, I've gone as a fairy or something with wings, and I've had purple hair for 30 years, and so there's definitely an element of the fairies and that comes through, and that I've discovered in those quantum hypnotherapy sessions. And I think that in those quantum hypnotherapy sessions we really can have a real deep connection to the higher self. And I've spoken about it recently on my YouTube, but I've almost had the sensation in the past a sort of month or so that I feel like more of my soul is being embodied into my physical body, and that connection is now almost fully back the way it was meant to be.
Wow.
And I can only say that meditation was my route there.
That's right. And I love that, because this is the key. It's a simple key, and this is the key to taking the journey, right? Because we have a lot of people in our world, because we are constantly talking about meditation, we are talking yoga, we're talking all of these things, energy healing, mindfulness practice, all of that. And I always say to people, I said it earlier this week to someone as well, the key to your whole life is meditation. The key 100%. To taking this journey is meditation, because what you're actually doing with meditation is you're actually communicating with yourself. It's easy to be busy all the time. It's easy to be talking to everyone else, communicating with everyone else. Yeah. But if you neglect communicating with yourself, then you can carry on with your life like that for a long time. The third dimensional life, people have gone on without even doing meditation. They've gone on without even doing prayers, and that's fine, because a lot of people are not religious, so they don't do prayers. But meditation is not about religion.
No.
Meditation is about your mind. It's about calming the mind. It's about and when you calm the mind and when you breathe and you make sure the breath is there, then you have all this creativity that comes out of you.
Yeah.
And then you can see yourself for who you truly are.
100%.
Yeah.
And they always say the only way out is in, and we need to remember that we can't influence our external reality from the outside. We have to do it by changing ourselves. So they always say, be the change you wish to see in the world. So when you go into meditation, I believe you're connecting with your soul or your higher self, and even the great cosmos. But you can't do it while you are distracted. You have to quiet the mind, and you have to go within, because we've only ever known the the ego, and we don't even know who our true selves are. So, it's it can be scary because people don't understand this, but there really is nothing to fear. There's only magic on the other side of even shadow work and a dark night of the soul, and all this, all this healing and stuff, and going through all your traumas and, feeling it to heal it. I encourage people to just find the courage to do that if you feel that you are stuck, because there is pure magic on the other side of this.
Yes, I so agree with that. It just kind of reminds me of my talk earlier with Bill Rice, because he was talking about the moon, and he just changed the whole vibration when he started to talk about the moon, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's about this whole plethora of stuff that you can find. You can find working with the crystals. You can look at the tarot cards. You can look at candles and what they do for you. You can look at the moon, understand the moon phases, and think, hey, what can I do to have a bit of fun with the moon phases? There's such a variety of everything. You can work with the plants. You can talk to the trees. You can invoke dragons and unicorns. And these things are there. We think it's in fairy tales and all of that.
It's not.
It came from somewhere.
Why do we have all these myths of dragons and things if they're not real?
Exactly. Exactly.
And the thing is that we've really come into this paradigm. Most people are traumatized. Most people have been through some horrific events, and we just have forgotten how to have fun.
Yeah. Good, clean fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be have good clean fun is not drinking or whatever.
No, it's dancing around the lounge with the music turned up, even if you can't sing for anything, and you just having a ball. And
yes, letting it loose.
And that's another thing I want to say on meditation. I know there's a lot of people that can't quiet the mind, but you can walk and meditate. When you are dancing and singing, you are meditating. When you are drawing and doing art and stuff or creative things, you are meditating. So find what works for you, because everybody, when you connect with your soul, you will just be astounded to understand that you are a pure being of light that's just in a physical body. You're so much bigger than what you know.
So well said. I love that. And the thing is, it's true. Meditation doesn't have to be sitting in a chair and just sitting there and being quiet for 15 minutes and putting it on a timer. I do that. But I also find it's Michelle Goddard that put me onto this. And she said when she was having time, Michelle Goddard, by the way, is the lady who brought in the harmonic egg to Australasia, just for our listeners' benefit. Michelle is meant to be on radio with me in the next couple of months, so we look out for her. But she was talking about this, and she went through this period of not connecting. And then she started to walk the beach. Yeah. And when she was walking the beach, she felt prompted to do a meditation on the beach, and everything started to flow. And sometimes that's what it takes. And I was on Mangaroa the other day with the dog, and it's just amazing when you stand up there and you look at all the vistas around us, and it just automatically, the light language start to come out of my mouth, and I think, well, okay, this is it. This is what she's talking about. Yeah. And for me, it's for some people, it's well, what were the examples you gave now? It's gone out of my head. But it's like dancing. And for me, it's dancing because my body will tell me you need to dance or you need to sing or something like that. But for me, it's baking bread. It's kneading the dough that does it. Have you found that?
Yeah. 100%.
It's like, it just puts me in another space.
Yeah, because it's almost like that when you're driving. So you go into that alpha state where your mind's doing something and your body's doing something else. So, and that's really what you do when you meditate. So you don't have to be still, but it's getting the mind out the way, because the mind is the ego mind is the thing that has all the limiting beliefs and is really trying to keep you safe. But it's not allowing you to expand. So you need to get out the way so that you can, find your courage, take those chances, and just, be, as I say, my slogan is awaken your magic. So awaken that magic that's deep within you that you have.
Yes, and all of us have the magic. We have our own kind of magic.
Yeah.
And one more thing I just wanted to say about going within. I believe, if all of us are going to do that going within, and we're going to do our meditation, it's actually going within, that's going to shift everything that needs to be shifted on the planet 100%. For higher purpose, right? Yes. For a higher vibrational state. And the planet is ascending.
Yeah.
And in order for us to ascend with the planet, this is what we need to be doing. We need to be going within.
Yep.
The battle, and I don't like using the word battle, but how the planet was won is going to be about people going within, all of us going within at the same time, and it's the planet is going to win. The planet's already winning. We are going to win with the planet if we do that. It's about us. It's about what we do, because Gaia is ascending. There is no question about it.
No.
And the question is, will you be going? Are you going?
Yeah.
That's
and people need to remember that we're all part of one. So with everybody that does their own healing, they are healing that part of the one. So with everybody that does their own healing, they're healing the whole, which is really beautiful because everybody benefits.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not a lot to do for everybody to benefit.
No.
You just do it for yourself.
Well, you do it for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You do it for yourself, and all of that energy goes out.
Because who wouldn't want to have a magical life filled with joy, wonder, unicorns, dragons, fairies, and all these things? I know that I
can see it. I can hear the music. I can hear the birds singing, and I can hear the water flowing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, Emma, we come to this point where I ask this question. Is there anything else you want to tell us? I will ask you about telling us, about giving us your contact details later. But is there anything else that you want to share with us or tell us about that I have not asked you?
I don't think so, Rose. As I say, I encourage people to find a way to meditate, whether that's a moving way or a quiet way, because really it's wow. It's not an experience that can be described in words.
It isn't, and I will add to that to say, if you are struggling at the moment to keep your mind quiet, if you are struggling at the moment to take charge of your life, take control of things, if you're going through something called the dark night of the soul or the black night of the soul, whatever it is that you feel like you're out of control in, meditation of whatever kind that suits you is going to be the thing that's going to be your gateway to seeing the light, to seeing what is next, to taking that next step. I live it. I know it. There is no other thing I would say to anybody who's starting out. And remember, many people are not awakened yet.
Yeah.
Right? Many people are not awakened yet. And so many people are starting to awaken. And the way to keep traction, the way to keep that longevity and keep it going is meditation.
Yeah. And I would also say that if you feel that you are struggling and you can't do it alone, that's when you find a coach or a healer or, somebody that can hold that space with you and guide you and walk with you, because we are all here to walk one another home, and, you're not alone. So
yeah, that was your anything else, wasn't it? I like that. Really, really important. And I think what we have to, some of us have done a lot on our own. Okay, I'm one of those people, and then there came a time when I needed people. I needed to go to a healer or something like that, and I knew that, and I went. But don't try to do it on your own. You don't have to do it on your own. No. There's so much available, and there's so much out there. So look for it. And by the way, Emma's one of those people you could go to just to say, not like, tricky marketing or anything. It's just directly. That's what you do, right? Yeah. This is what you do. And now that we got to that, Emma, tell us where people can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so my website is being-magic.com. So it's being-magic.com. And all my details are on there. I have a YouTube channel. You can find me on Instagram. And so feel free to reach out.
Yeah, reach out. Reach out if you need it. I really encourage you to do that. And thank you for that, Emma. And if you felt you lost where that was, you couldn't remember it, go to the Great Awakening Generator. Emma's on there. And, her details are on there as well. One of the things, before we go to the meditation, I pulled a card today out of this. This is by Diana Cooper. This is the unicorn cards, right? And there is a little book here. And for whatever reason, I love the unicorn cards, but I've got to say I love my unicorn, the magic of unicorn cards better, right? So today I thought I'm going to shuffle the cards, and then I'm going to see what card comes out. And this was the card. Number 18, magic.
Oh, my word.
You can't make this stuff up, right? And what it says is there is magic around you, so expect excitement and joy. Exactly what you were just saying, right?
100%. The universe is speaking.
The universe is speaking, and in some ways really loudly at the moment. So be in tune, and I would encourage anybody listening to just be in tune with that. Be in tune with that, because we're meant to have a really good time at the moment. I know that things are not, the way things are, and because we're all in the transition process and we're going through the transformation, and some of us are awakened, some of us are partly awakened, some of us are still asleep. Things are happening that we sometimes think it's a cruel world. And yes, the world, it is looking like that. But I want to say these two words, soul contract. We must remember that soul contracts are also playing out here on the planet at the moment. And it's not going to be easy, because we have been programmed not to consider soul contracts. We have been programmed not to think. We have been programmed to think of death and tragedy as really bad. What we haven't been told is this, that when death occurs, when tragedy occurs, that there is something that soul signed up for this life.
Yeah.
That when they come here, that they are going to go through that, and their life might end young, life might end old, or they might have something that is presented to them that will take them through a learning process, whether it's a terminal illness or a chronic illness or whatever. Those are the things we haven't been told. We've been told that those are bad things. Death's a bad thing. Having somebody die is terrible, and all of that. And of course, we are a planet, and we are people on this planet. We operate from heart space. If you operate from heart space, the heart is there. We've been taught love is a very important thing, even though in some ways we've been taught it in a way that's not the best way.
Yeah.
But there's a whole story of love, and this is part of love and loving, and knowing when to release, knowing when to understand that soul has to move forward or has to go through that. So thank you so much, Emma, for coming and talking to us today here on the Friday Fry-Up. What I would like to hand over to you, I'm going to turn my microphone off, and I'm going to hand over you this time, because I did ask if you would lead us in a meditation. For anybody who's listening now, or anybody that listens in the future, because everyone, this is going to be on Emma's website. So if you want to listen to this again, it's going to be on beingmagic.com, right? And if you get onto Google and you just put Being Magic, it comes up first thing, I think.
Yeah.
The website comes up first thing. Emma's website comes up first. So you won't go wrong, all right? So I'll leave it over to you then. So if you can lead us into a meditation, that would be really good.
Right. So if anyone's listening, you can close your eyes if you want to. And just take 3 nice deep breaths all the way down into your belly. Feel your belly expand, and there'll be a little pause at the end, and then you can exhale. And just take in another one. And I just want you to feel into when you are exhaling, just letting everything go that no longer serves you. Your body knows what that is. Your soul knows what that is. You don't need to know what that is. And then just carry on breathing. But every time you inhale, I want you to just imagine that you're breathing in golden light from the universe that's all around you. And you can see as that golden light goes into your lungs, and it just floods out into every single cell of your body. And with every exhale, you just keep letting go. And eventually, after a few breaths, if you can visualize, you should start to see yourself as this golden being, this golden vessel, as your body just fills with more and more golden light. And then I just want you to feel your feet, and to just imagine beautiful silver roots growing out of the bottom of your feet and down through the grass and the sand and the soil and all the way down into the center of Mother Gaia. And there'll be some beautiful crystals there, and you can wrap your silver roots around any crystal that they find. And then on your next inhalation, I want you to feel the energy of Gaia coming back up through those roots. So see those silver roots just lighting up. And it'll come up, up, up all the way back to your feet. And your feet might feel a bit tingly as Gaia's energy starts to enter your body. And we're just anchoring ourselves into the earth so that we can reconnect to her and keep fully grounded. We are a part of earth. She is a part of us. And then as you continue to breathe, I just want you to bring that energy up from the earth and just see it at the base of your spine, and it'll turn a red, and see it swirling around, and bring it up a little higher to your belly button, and it'll turn into an orange, and just see it swirling all the way around your body like a little vortex. And then bring it up a little higher to just below your rib cage, and it'll turn yellow, and it's still spinning. And this light goes further up to your heart, and now it turns a beautiful green. There might be a special burst of energy that comes out from this energy center, and it continues up to the throat, and it'll turn a beautiful bright blue. Might clear your throat, you might start to cough a bit, and let it go further up to between your brows, and it'll turn a beautiful indigo. You might feel a buzzing in your temples. And then let that light shoot out the top of your head, turning this beautiful white violet. And we'll send that all the way up to the cosmos and just connecting in to the all that is while we are fully grounded in earth. And just know that you are fully supported by Gaia from beneath you, and you are fully supported by the universe from above you. And then when you feel ready, just start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And as you do that, just thank your body for the time it's taken today to release the things that it needs to release. And thank your soul for guiding the process. And we thank Gaia, and we thank the universe for having our backs always. And when you're ready, you can take a deep breath and just open your eyes and just come back into the room. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Wow, that was awesome, Emma. Beautiful. Well, a lot of energy. Yeah, makes me want to go lie down now. Well, everyone, how are you feeling? How are you going? I hope really well. Yeah, so, Emma, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Rose, and thank you to the listeners.
Oh, thank you so much. I you know, as I explained, I know the distance and all of that, and we've been really, really blessed, very, very blessed to come and for you to come and have this conversation with us. And you know what? We're just going to do that. We're just going to believe from here on. Everything is going to be magic as long as we,
as long as you believe it.
As long as you believe it. And, I really love that we put this conversation through the radio frequency, because amazing things happen when we put it through the radio frequencies. And I just feel that it reaches beyond this universe and this galaxy and all the planets around us. It just goes beyond. It goes to all others. And I mean all others, and we, for whatever reason, they just turn around and they just look back at us, and they just respond positively to us, any requests we make, anything we're putting out there. So everyone, thank you so much for being a part of this. So safe travels, Emma.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that you have come today. Well, everybody, we are going to go to the top of the hour announcements that are we're meant to be there at 4 o'clock. It is now 18 minutes past 4, but hey, the show, anything can happen on it. So yeah, you'll be okay with that. I know this. So here we are. Anything else you wanted to tell us? All good. All right. Just checking with Emma. You never know. Intuition might have said something else to her, and then she